Yeah, here I am. It's Saturday night, 8 o'clock Pacific. What time is it local?
It is currently 10:01 p.m. local time here.
Okay, in North Dakota. I'm talking to Adrieiuous, at the front line. Please go ahead.
Hello everyone. I'm currently at Standing Rock at Adrieiuous, and currently in my barracks here. I just wanted to give an account here of last Sunday. Basically, we initially intended to go to the bridge to peacefully remove the barricade. We had gone up there. We spoke with the police on the other side of the barricade, even though they didn't necessarily agree to us taking the trucks. We did anyway, but they didn't seem to mind so much until someone had ran to the Sacred Stone camp and told them that we were up on the bridge and that chaos was breaking out. And they all ran to the bridge in floods, and we had people from Red Warrior as well, another part of the camp, come rushing in, and we were all basically fighting on the bridge together. But that really started the uprise. As we were pushing the truck, we had this flood of people coming in, civilians running into the bridge. Excuse me. I'm still suffering from tear gas from 5 days ago. Been coughing it out, but my voice is getting better. My breathing is getting better. I've been healing very rapidly. Anyway, as I was saying, not to steer away from the topic, I was on the back side of the truck after me and Red Stick, we came down from the top of a hill. Me, Red Stick, Andrew, and Sledgehammer. We were told by our commander here to go to the top of the hill to do photo ops. Real brief before we ran down to the bridge, so we did. And we recorded some things, Red Stick's videos on YouTube now, and on Facebook. And we ended up, after we saw the cars flooding in for Dapple down the hill, from above the hill, in 2s and 4s and 2s and 6s, eventually piling up to well over 50 cars there on the other side of the barricade. All of them turning their cars around so their cameras would not face us for plausible deniability. You know, their dash cams, they had them turned away from us. We ended up running down to the van that we had taken to get to the hill and drove over to the bridge where we joined the fight, and ran into the bridge where we caught up with Mike, who was driving the diesel truck, and jumped onto the back side of the truck that was being towed after the chains were put into place to help give it leverage. So I ended up being the man in the middle, while Red Stick was on my left, and another guy on the left, and two other guys on the right that I couldn't identify right away. And we all five of us are pushing the car, or the truck rather. But the truck was burned so badly that its axles and the wheels would not turn, so they were digging into the asphalt as it was being pulled by the diesel and pushed by us from the backside. The Dapple and police started firing rubber bullets at us, some of which I have with me as we speak. And as they did that, the guys on my left and right spread out around the other side of the truck. And I redirected Dapple and the police's attention onto me by screaming back at them. They started firing rubber bullets at my back, at my head, my neck, my legs, my right shoulder, and kept hammering me with those things until finally they started throwing tear gas, but I did not back down until the tear gas hit. First 2 cans of tear gas, I had to rip off my face mask. because my face felt like it was on fire. Felt like I was breathing straight habanero sauce. My eyes were burning, but I finally got back up again real quick, and I kept running back to the front line to start catching some of those tear gas cans and decking them back at the Dapple workers. Although they claimed we were throwing rocks and logs, that was not true. We had no rocks or logs to throw. We were throwing their own cans back at them. So as we were doing that, they started throwing flashbangs. And one of their flashbangs started a brush fire. We did not start any fires up there at all. The flashbangs started the fire off to the right-hand side of the bridge if you were facing towards Dapple. And the fire began to grow as the flashbang continued to ignite the brush. Because as a flashbang sits after it's been fired off, the thing gains heat and it rises to about close to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was causing fires. With my gloves on, after we ran up and started patting the fire out with our feet, I was in that group that did that. I saw the flashbang there and I attempted to pick it up and throw it over the fence, to which we finally did, but it melted through my glove and singed my fingers. So after that, we ran back in. Once we had the fire put out, we ran back into the crowd there where we had a bunch of people with shields and cameras pushing towards the front, blocking the rubber bullets. They kept periodically throwing cans as Mike was dragging the truck out. He was inching it out further and further until we finally got it off the bridge. And it's currently sitting on the side of the road as we speak where we left it. Since now they won't let us take it to the camp, since they say that would, they would act on that if we did. Technically speaking, they say those vehicles belong to them, but they're on our side of the river. And they were burned to create a barricade. We were merely just trying to remove the barricade to allow for emergency vehicles to cross through, because as it stands right now, they have to take an extra 45-minute detour just to get to the camp when somebody's injured. And that can mean the difference between life and death, having that time shaved off if they were just allowed to go down the 1806. Instead of having to take a detour to the 6 to the 24 back to the 1806 and back up to North Gate. It takes an extra 45 minutes out of the time it normally would take if you were just taking a straight drive down from Bismarck down the 1806. You get there much quicker. So they started firing water cannons at us and actually tried to sound the LRAD, but they actually froze part of their water cannon, or their LRAD, I'm sorry. Froze part of the LRAD, and it didn't sound off properly. We could hear them trying to trigger the LRAD, but it wasn't loud enough to hurt anybody's ears because this part of the speaker was actually frozen. So we, with rubber bullets being fired, more tear gas being thrown, and amounts that I lost count of, they threw beyond 30 cans of that, or shot them out from their little cannons, and the flashbangs, and the scattershot beanbags. Me and my guys, we were up at the front line there, and they started spraying the water cannon at us. They hit my radio, and they hit a bunch of the guys standing up on the cement barricades. And those guys continued to stand there bathing in the water, showing Dapple that they were not going to back down. They also sprayed the reporters. They kept spraying their cameras, trying to kill their cameras. Although most of their cameras are waterproof, Dapple didn't know that. They kept spraying anyway. And a lot of people were becoming very cold. It was a very chilly night. The wind eventually turned and blew all of the tear gas towards the cops on the other side of the barricade. And they ended up getting a taste of their own medicine. So that seemed to stop the trip.
Adrieiuous, it looks like the elements are in your favor, certainly.
Of course. And also, after I was water cannoned enough, I backed up and I went back I took about 20 paces back so I could examine my radio. Because the radio, they targeted my walkie-talkie radio directly. And I noticed it wasn't turning on. I figured it was completely waterlogged. So I backed up to take a look at it. And I happened to hear one of the medics singing behind me. And I was about to run back to the front line. And she was singing, and I told her that her song was beautiful. She looks at me. And this is all after I brought the bolt cutters to the guys up at the front who were cutting the barbed wire. Trying to cut the barbed wire anyway. She said, "I know you. You're coming with me. We're kidnapping you." And she basically forced me to go with her off the bridge. I told her I'm all right. She said, "No, you're not. You're coming with me." And she took me back here to the veterans area where we found the rest of my team here, the rest of my guys. We were all reunited. Me, Red Stick, Andrew, we went to medic together. And we stayed there overnight up at Sacred Stone Camp, where we were trying to recover. We were released the following day back to Osheti. And we've been recovering since. But, what happened on that bridge should not have escalated to that point. We were trying to do what we were doing peacefully. Everything that we did on that bridge was meant to remove the barricade so that emergency vehicles could come through. But DAPL and the police did not want to work with us on that. Yesterday, was it yesterday? It was yesterday. We walked up to, or no, it was the day before yesterday. The day of the Turtle Island incident again. And the bridge incident. We walked up to go talk with DAPL. Two guys ahead of me walk up on the bridge. And I see them going up there, so I decided, excuse me.
That
I didn't want
your video, turn off your video. You're losing clarity.
Okay.
Better. Much better.
As I was saying, two of our guys went walking up on the bridge, and I didn't want them to go alone. We were watching them, we watched them the previous day, with a crane, so the following day we actually went to go and talk to them to see if we could get them to agree to remove their barricades, to which, a long story short, they decided not to go through with removing the barricade because they seem to believe that we are rioters and that we are being aggressive. And they didn't want to work with us under those pretenses, even though we weren't the ones being aggressive to begin with. The people have merely been protesting and praying and have been shot up and tear-gassed and flash-banged and scattershot, beanbagged, and hit with the LRAD over simply praying and just peacefully protesting. None of them have weapons. Nobody was armed despite any of the police reports. Nobody had weapons. We never threw rocks or logs at them. We were all very peaceful and have been from the beginning. So, the bridge, just the other day, I walked up onto the bridge with my arms out. They had AR-15s with live rounds pointed at us. So obviously they have some military personnel from the Army Corps supplying them with AR-15s now. Anyway, at the same time, we had another incident going on over at Turtle Island. The police officers there decided to cross the water and destroy one of the bridges we built. And they held an AR-15 to the people while they did it. Destroyed the bridge and they went back. After that, the bridge was rebuilt. And the people protested on the other side of the river, crossed the Cannonball River to Turtle Island to protest at the base of the hill. Problem is we didn't have enough people there to take it, so they ended up backing down eventually. But this whole event I didn't know was going on while I was on the bridge, talking to the police, trying to peacefully negotiate having the barricades removed. Unfortunately, between me and the rest of the guys that were on the bridge after that, Mike ended up coming up behind us and we were all talking to them. I ended up staying quiet after that. Negotiations went very sour. And they decided not to agree to remove the barricades at all. And then we get a notice in the P.O. box for the Adrieiuous Shackaway camp that they want to evict us by the 5th. So, all I can say about that is that, we will stand to the very end. And we're not going to give up that easily. Everything we're doing is peaceful, but we have a game plan. And everything should be done peacefully and everything will be resolved. So, as a result of the footage and everything that was publicized from this last Sunday, Dapple has lost well over $1 billion. Banks are starting to pull out their investments. And they've been losing stock. They've been losing a lot of money. So gradually, our efforts are panning out. We hope that this pipeline will be stopped. They started drilling a little while back again, and they have been periodically drilling. They managed, last I knew, they managed an extra 90 feet underground. So we managed to scout it out with our drones to be able to see what was going on without the drones being shot down. And we determined that they not only built the drill, but that they had been drilling. And people at some of the nearby camps had noted that they could feel in the ground and hear the sound of drilling. So, needless to say, regardless of the fact that they have no permits to continue drilling right at this point, they are apparently going to attempt to absorb the lawsuits and absorb the fines and just do it anyway, because that's who these people are. It's about big money and big oil, Rothschilds and Rockefellers. If people could do things peacefully and get this resolved and shut this down here, shut down this pipeline, this is just the very beginning. Now, I will say that this society here, this camp, is the largest example of Ubuntu I've seen in a long time. This is how the world should work. This camp, everyone that's come together from around the world, they brought their expertise, their skill sets to the table, have been providing free energy, have been trading and bartering, just as I've been talking about for months over the radio. It's been my dream for this place to see an Ubuntu society come up like this. Everything being done at Adrieiuous Shackaway is amazing. The camp is beautiful. The people are wonderful. We're all working together as a united front. And we're making a difference. So, I want all of you that are listening to consider, if you have the resources, coming to this camp to stand and support us. We need all of the support we can get. The more people that come with kindness, love, compassion, empathy, and sympathy in their hearts for these people, the better. People need to learn to let things go, let their differences go, set their differences aside and work together. And right now, as we're standing on this piece of land, people are beginning to do that. So, it's an amazing experience here. You know, I don't want to see this place end. I want to see it grow. This is an example I believe the world should follow.
This is like a new beginning.
Truly it is. It's not just a new beginning, it's a revolution. It's been overdue for a long time. You know, and we're doing this without guns. We're doing this with our voices. We're doing this with our actions. We're doing this with love and compassion and a peaceful resolve. If we can do it, so can all of you. So those of you who have the means to come here, please, by all means, come and travel to Osheta, even if for a couple of days, show your support. JP, did you have any questions?
There are certain things that you may require if people come. What kind of things would be good to bring from the outside world, so to speak?
Free energies, solar panels, wind power, wind turbines would be wonderful. Heating. We need warm clothes. There are a lot of people that are coming here that don't have winter clothes. You know, we are trying to winterize this camp. We're trying to winterize the tents. You know, we're doing everything we can to receive donations of winter clothes for these people, but I'm still finding that people that are arriving here from around the country are still coming very ill prepared. I mean, we had one woman the other night actually sleeping on the ground outside of her car because she was so exhausted that she didn't have the energy to climb in, or perhaps even the awareness to know that she was outside in a sleeping bag covered in ice. But, you know, I mean, things like that, people need to get rest when they come here. They need to make sure they're well rested before they get here, so that we don't end up with that kind of stuff. And they need to make sure they have warm clothing. I can't emphasize that enough. It gets very cold up here. The winds are pretty much a constant presence. At night when it's windy and cold, you get a very massive wind chill. I'm wearing 5 layers of clothing out here. You know, I have to do that to keep warm, and even still it gets cold sometimes. Well, we're working on that, aren't we? So, winter gear is something that we need here. We need proper winter gear, thermals. You know, anything people are willing to bring will help the cause here. We have a donations tent. We have a general goods tent that receives these donations. And, we have the veterans tent. You know, if you can, bring what you can to help the veterans here. We're always out on the front lines. I think it's very cold. So anything you can do to help will help greatly. So,
listen, Adri, are you cool if I can put this on YouTube just now?
Sure.
I'll also play this, as, you know, if you can't make it to the show, I'll put this on and then pad it out with some other stuff.
Okay. Well, I think I very accurately described basically what was going
I
on
think
that bridge.
I think you've definitely drawn a very detailed picture.
As far as I could remember clearly with everything going on. Yes, Red Stick here has a video that he put up. Let me turn on my... No, there's no light on it. Yeah. So I just wanted you to meet JP, who lives in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, I got on my Facebook page, it tell you my first and last name. You look it up, you could take it off of there. It's only 45 seconds long, but it shows I'm on top of a hill and they're rolling in backwards up to the barricade before they actually went to go hook it up, when they were just backing up to it. And then everybody was getting down there to the line. And then after it shut off is when we got up off the hill and ran down there to help them hook up the truck.
Absolutely. So, and this is what I was describing earlier. So, Red Stick, myself, Andrew, and Sledgehammer, we were up at the top of that hill, and Red Stick was recording.
And Dakota Whipman, too.
And Dakota Whipman, yes. Whipman. I forgot about him. But my recount of that day, I think, was pretty accurate. It was pretty much a mess. It's to say the very least.
It sounds hellacious, more than a mess. So, we don't want any more of that. So really, from the out, I mean, what's the kingpin? How do we stop this? It's to do with the banks. It's to do with oil companies. What leverage can you see? Publicity.
More publicity will solve a whole lot of things. Mm-hmm. The more eyes that are on this, the less they can do without liability.
Good.
And to save face, they will end up eventually probably backing off anyway, but they need to. They need to realize that what they're doing is wrong. This is going to destroy not just the river and the drinking water, but the ecosystem.
Yeah. Well, it's...
One leak into the aquifer, and this land is done.
Yeah, it sounds like it's deliberate. It's like, vaccination on the planet. It's like horrible.
Precisely.
So, there's so much more at stake than not even just that, but just, it's a bigger thing. It's like they want to cut the planet open and let her bleed out.
Absolutely. If they want to meet me, that's fine. But,
I tell them cowards all the time, drop their weapons and come pray. They ain't got the balls to.
No, they don't. They truly don't have the nerve to. They don't have the courage to drop their guns and to come pray with us. They should be doing that. But we are Akashita with this camp. They basically adopted us as Lakota warriors. We are now part of the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And we are their front linemen. We are their first line. Well, we are their cavalry. Because we are all trained in combat in very different ways. All of us have various expertise. Mine happens to be very wide.
Oh, you do?
So, I know what I'm doing out there. Am I still being recorded?
Yeah, we're still on, but I can turn off the recorder if you want.
Okay. Okay, yeah, but basically, we're all up there fighting for the right cause. We're fighting for the same cause. All of us are standing united and doing everything we can, despite everything that was thrown at us. So I plan to make a necklace out of this rubber bullet. Going to put a hole through it and run dog chain through it. hang it on my neck. A reminder of that day, which apparently has become very famous. But a lot of disinfo was spread about what we did up there. People were assuming that we were throwing rocks and burning logs and things because that's what the police said, which wasn't true. You know, they were saying that we started fires and things, and we never did. We were trying to put out their fires. Now, the whole time that fire was burning, they had a water cannon they could have put it out with at any time, but they chose not to. So you tell me why they didn't do that.
They're using all the elements in the wrong way.
Well, of course. You know, I find it highly ironic that they had a water cannon and they started a fire and didn't bother to put it out with that water cannon. Instead, they sprayed it at us. We had to put the fire out by ourselves with our feet. You know, so. But I'm healing fast for all, you know, I've been working through all of this.
Yeah, I've been sending a bit of healing while you're talking with me.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
So we are working hard to solve this problem. I can't leave yet. They need me here. I work directly with the chief. All of us do here now. But I'm directly working with him. I can't abandon him. Can't abandon these people. Not yet. I know so many people want me to leave and go home. You know, come home. All of my friends are worried about me. You know, they want me to just abandon this cause, but if I do that, I could not live with myself. For abandoning a people in need, that's not what we do. We stand, we fight, we protect them, we teach them, that's what we do. Set them on the right path. What's happening here is literally the brink of war. You know, we don't back down from that. We put an end to it. That's what we're here for. So if people can't get that through their heads, that we're here to help them, we're not backing down until this is done, then their perspective is much more narrow than I thought. You know, people worry about me based on their perspective that is limited to only what they know about the camp, outside of it, having never stepped foot on it. But they're not here on the ground level to see it from my perspective. They're not here on the ground level to see the people from my perspective. You know, I'm here with them every day now. I live with them. I live among them. We work together. You know, for the time being, this is another home until this is done. So we're working hard to make a difference, working hard to change the world. You know, and again, after we're done here, this is only the beginning. There's still so much more to be done. But this is the beginning of a revolution. And we want to keep that going. And yes, I will go home after this is done. But I will not leave until then. So if people want to turn away from me for that fact, that's on their conscience, not mine. But I will not abandon these people. Not yet. And not ever. Only leave when the time is right.
Audrey, I don't want to take any more of your precious mobile phone juice. Thank you for connecting in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Oh, brother. So, all of our hearts, I know that all of our hearts go out to you. We'll keep funneling the stuff, keep funneling the light and love towards you. People, if you want to bring stuff, bring extra warm things for the people there. Bring food.
Absolutely.
What kind of food is good to bring?
Anything helps at this point.
Anything
they're willing to bring to the table is helpful. So, any of their skill sets, whether that be crafting, designing, building, or cooking, or whatever they think that they have is useful. Anything they can do is useful. There's not one thing that people can do that we can't use here. So everything is useful. Just keep that in mind, that everything that you all can do is worth it to bring to the table. Doesn't matter how small or big. So if you want to stand here with us and help us out, just know that even if you know how to do just one really small thing, that small thing is one small thing that we don't have yet in most cases. So bring it to the table, and we will make sure that you are helping the people with that they get exposure to your skill sets. This is a community of Ubuntu, so everyone has something they bring to the table.
Adrieiuous, Standing Rock. Bless you. We love you. Thank you.
I love you all, and just know that I'm with you always, alright? I'll be checking into Wolf Spirit Radio chat a little more often now that we have some internet. So we'll be giving some updates here periodically as things come through.
Thank you very much. Good night, Adri.
Have a good night.